So I'm really referring to the document that Rob's got up on the screen there as we go through this now. We'll start off just saying that there are really four things that affect a video VIDYO experience, and they are the institution's capacity to get to these addresses on the right-hand side. That affects the client experience with video, and it's not affected by the institution, UCT or SKA's access to international bandwidth, because in fact these router addresses that we have here are the guys where the international traffic terminates before it's then sent out to the institution. So your international capacity is not going to affect the experience. What is going to affect the experience is anything between these devices on the right-hand side, those 5 addresses, and your client. So what are they? Firewalls. So you need to open the ports which are documented, and we'll go through them in a minute. Proxy servers, if the firewall ports are not open, that can seriously slow down performance. And thirdly, any traffic shapers you may have that are affecting any of these ports and addresses. So if we take each of them one at a time, then as I said, international doesn't matter because you're getting essentially exempt from international traffic because of the fact that these routers are sitting between you and the outside world. On the firewall side, there's a list of ports, and I'm not sure whether should I name them quickly? So the ports that the firewall has to have open towards these addresses are listed over there. Port 80 and 443 to allow HTTP and HTTPS traffic to the video portal, and this is what allows you to do things like setting up rooms and so on. And then port 17992 to the video portal. And then to the video routers, 17990, and then UDP ports coming in. So note that these are the other 3 then, because your firewalls are stateful, the return traffic will automatically get through. So if you allow the outgoing traffic, then the return traffic will be allowed by almost all firewalls on the planet. On the last one at the bottom, the UDP ports from 50,000 to 65,535, you'll have to allow those incoming responses. If you do that, then your clients are going to have basically the best experience they possibly can have. Rob, I think you want to slide down a little bit lower on that document.
So I would just say the video portal, the video router numbers there, you've got the 3 in the 196 address space. They're the ones in South Africa. Basically, and then there's the one in, actually, it's actually slightly outdated because we've taken one of the routers out of service for now. And the other one, is that 41? Is that?
I don't know.
That's Kenya.
Oh, yeah. So can I just say then that you will be affected when you go to the Kenyan router. You will be affected, but you presumably won't go there unless you're talking to somebody in Kenya.
No one in South Africa should be connected to the Kenyan router. So the Kenyan, if someone's having a meeting from Kenya, they will be connected to the Kenyan router, which will then bridge the traffic to one of the South African routers.
So we could actually take that off that list, I suspect.
Well, this is for the Kenyans as well.
Okay, great. Okay, so if we just move down a little bit, it basically just redocuments what I've described at the top in the diagram. And let's go down a little bit further then.
And as you may be aware, that video uses, I think, six ports per participant in the UDP range. And where we see problems, they are generally due to UDP traffic being dropped.
So there's that 50,000 through 65,535 UDP incoming is important. So that covers the firewall. If we deal with that and the firewall's done, then we're in for a reasonable experience, except for a few other things. If we don't have these firewall ports open, a user can still use a proxy server, a web proxy server, and then the traffic will go out on 443 and or 80, except that the proxy server itself could put in some serious drop in performance if they're not well configured. So if you have to use proxy servers, it makes a lot of sense for the for there to be cache bypass rules. Different proxy servers call them by different names, but you need to tell your proxy server to not cache and to completely bypass that traffic, so that the proxy is not acting on it or trying to filter it or any of those things. Again, to those addresses that are in the top of that list. And then the last thing is traffic shapers. Obviously, if you've got traffic shaping rules that cause there to not be enough bandwidth available for those clients on your campus, then they're also going to experience some horrible things. So presumably, if you're going to have shaping rules in for this specific set of traffic, it makes sense for them to be enough to cover a decent video session at the resolutions you're looking for. And I think that kind of covers as much as I can say about these documents. So, is there any questions?
I've got a question, Ken, about this. And you'll have to excuse my lack of knowledge around these things. ECMP. What exactly protocol is that?
It's a protocol, and I'll go and point some documentation across it.
And
okay. I'll do the same.
Okay. So the other thing I would say is that there is also, Vidyo has its own proxy, called Vidyo proxy. If you're troubleshooting someone who can't connect or is having problems, and it's often worth asking them to select this, and you can see on this is in the settings page for the Vidyo desktop, which you access through the little wheel icon on the taskbar. And so always use Vidyo proxy, and then get them to try that. And if it works with that, then that's usually a sign that you need to put blocking, because this will, if the Vidyo proxy is selected, then it will tunnel through most firewalls.
So then, if you do that, bear in mind that you may then get whatever else is in the path, proxies and shapers. Proxies and shapers.
Again, with web proxies, we recommend that exceptions are made. But it's sort of short and sweet, really. It's useful to get it from, I think, the stuff around the shapers, I think, is perhaps most pretty useful to get from that point of view. We've got someone anonymous. Who's anonymous? Hello, anonymous. Leon, Peter, any thoughts on this? Have you had problems with this at all?
No problems really. I've got one question though. You mentioned that, let's say we connect to Kenya. We will connect to our portal on this side, Kenya will connect to their portal, and the two will connect to each other. What if somebody's sitting in, let's say, the UK? Do they connect to a Vidyo portal in the UK? We connect to ours, and Vidyo does the rest between the two portals, or how does it work?
That depends. If say you were to invite someone in the UK to a meeting,
correct,
they would connect to the portal. Actually, is just as one portal, and that sits in Cape Town. So routers do the media traffic switching. So they would actually connect into that Cape Town router.
Straight into the Cape Town one. And if they've got a bad connection, obviously they will experience bad quality. If they're some sort of low bandwidth or whatever, I don't know.
If they're on a UK, say, academic address, then Janet runs, I think, called VC, which is based on Vidyo. So one of the things I'm aiming to explore is sort of connecting between our setup and theirs. They've actually hacked, I think would be the best expression, Vidyo, so just use it as a web browser instrument. But yes, at the moment, the only router we have outside of South Africa is in Kenya so far.
Okay, I see.
Hoping to have more in some of the other East and Southern African countries.
No, the reason I'm asking is somebody had a connection, and the remote party in the UK kept saying they can't connect, or they couldn't get audio through, or it was out of sync, and just wanting to find out how that is. So, but from what I saw, also if you used that, maybe check that you use proxy, it would have possibly resolved some of these issues.
One useful troubleshooting thing to do, if the person is technically capable of doing this, is ask them to do a trace route. Ask them to look at the router they're running. So if you go into the settings here, go into the settings here and just look at the status, it'll tell you which router you're connected to. So get them to do a trace route from where they're sitting to that router. Yeah, and then that will tell you what, well, a path.
Can I just add to Rob's thing then that if somebody in the UK is connecting to this router, they're coming through an uncontended bandwidth setup all the way from London, all the way to our router. So if there's a problem, it's very, very, very likely in there from that point onwards. So we've got huge amounts of pairing, we've got huge amounts of transit in London and in Amsterdam. And then we've not overcapacity on the links down to Cape Town and Joburg. So if there's a problem, it's almost certainly inside that side of the
okay, I see.
On this side.
Okay,
So things like trace routes back here would be very, very useful to see whether the problem is out there.
Yeah, now at least I can direct them to look at, it's not on this side, look at something on your side.
The other thing, Leon, just to say, and Peter, is to say, about the generate diagnostics report. So you just click that and you put a thing on, and say, if you could send us that with a sort of a kind of narrative about what's wrong, then I can pass them on to James Magnus to have a look at to see if there's anything obvious about it.
Yeah.
One of my wishes is to learn more how to read video diagnostic logs. There's an awful lot of information there, especially sitting there. Okay. So I think that's probably, as General MacArthur said, these proceedings are now at close unless there's any further questions.
Just one more question. Sorry, if we don't have the UDP port ranges open, the full range, 50 to 65,000, can we limit that range or not really?
As far as I know, no, you can't, because it basically wants to, it'll pick.
It randomly generates whichever port it comes on.
But you don't need to open them more widely than just those
from the
router addresses. That's all you need.
Yeah.
And possibly the portal, I'm not sure. I think it's just the routers.
Just the routers.
Yeah. Which are doing the media track. There's another whole sort of trail of tiers about firewalls and H323 that people understand it.
Yeah. Okay, no, that's perfect. I'll get them to do that then.
Any questions from you?
Yeah, well, you might have answered already that. So you have this router in Kenya. On what basis does it get selected for a client?
If the user has the Kenyan user location tag. So basically, if they're in one of the institutions up there and connecting through one of the
so it has to be specific. Configured in the client then.
Yeah, it's set on the it's set by default for all the Kenyan institutions as their default location.
Okay.
Do you have people up there that you want to talk to?
Well, no, we deal with guys in Ghana and stuff, but I guess there's probably no part. Yeah, probably the Ghana guys. It's better to come to Cape Town.
I think crossing the heart of darkest Africa is probably not going to be
not the most optimal route. But we are dealing with people in Kenya as well. So,
well, let me know because we can get you hooked into the.
And then if they came in via like the browser plugin, is there a way to force that traffic to go to the most optimal router, or would it always come?
No, I think with the guest login, you're basically sync. That's a good question.
If they send you a link, you can.
I think you go to the router. So if you send someone a guest link, I think they'll come in through the Cape Town route. That's where you're.
So for the Kenyan guys to come to the Cape Town route is not a bad thing. It's not, unless there are 20 of them. If it's just one person on that side, it's actually no problem at all.
Oh, right, okay.
The reason for putting the router up in Kenya was more so that Kenyan traffic stays in Kenya.
Right, yeah. So does the video thing not support any kind of like any cost model for the routers?
I did mean, sorry.
So you would have like the same, you'd have a name that points to address and then you deploy that address in multiple places. I mean, like any cost like they do for DNS services and that kind of thing. So then it would always go to the closest instance of the server.
I think they're working on, I think, stuff with location-based stuff. At the moment, you basically set up, you can do it through rules, mostly through IP ranges. At the moment, we're manually assigning to each of the tenants a default location. But you can do it through, you can have a series of rules, IP-based, which is what CERN do. So,
okay.
and you can then have failover if you can't get to this one, then go to the next nearest one.
Right. Okay. Okay, cool. Thanks.